بسم الله الحمد لله بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Chapter number 44, Sheikh Muhammad Fawad Abdul Baqi rahimahullah ta'ala says, باب وإعطاء من سأل بفحش وغلظة. It says to give alms to the one who begged importunately. To give alms one who begged importunately. باب إعطاء من سأل بفحش وغلظة. The chapter of the permissibility and sometimes the recommendation of giving someone who asks improperly. Someone who asks bifuhshin, very rudely, disrespectfully, وغلظة, and even occasionally some type of harshness or violence. Someone who disrespects you, someone who asks you in a bad way, someone who doesn't give you your necessary respect and due stature or attention, it's still permissible to give that person some zakah or some sadaqah. That's what's meant by that chapter heading. Is that just because a person asks incorrectly, disrespectfully, does not mean that it is haram to give them. Does not mean that you cannot give them any sadaqah or any zakah. That's what's meant by the chapter heading. The fa'idah of the chapter heading and the connection and the relation of the chapter heading to the chapter of zakah, fihi bayanu hukmin min ahkam az-zakah. وفيه إيضاح مسألة من مسائل الزكاة. The relation between the kitab of zakat in this chapter is that it shows us a ruling of zakat. And the zakat pertains to giving and getting. Who you can give, who you cannot give. What you can give, what you cannot give. What are you paying zakat on? Rice, gold earrings, chrome rims. It's a reality. Costly things. A diamond watch. What do you have to pay zakat for? And when you have to pay zakat, who is the zakat due to? And when is it due? How do you pay it? And from that is the issue of giving charity, sadaqah. Whether you call it alms, charity, whatever you call it, helping someone out. Is it permissible to give money in the United States? This is a very important question, to someone who's abusing drugs, that you know is abusing drugs. It says, can you help me out? Can you help me out? I'm trying to get something to eat. I'm lost. I'm stuck. I'm stranded. Ever happened to you before? In the train station on the corner. Me and my wife were stuck here. We don't have no money. We need $10 more to get our ticket for Greyhound, for Peter Pan. Is it permissible to give that person money and you smell alcohol on their breath or urine on their clothes? Or you can clearly see from your experiences growing up in the inner urban city, this person is unfortunately strung out or crackhead. It's clear as day. You know the person is shooting heroin. You see the tracks on their feet or their arm, their eyes, their breath. You know this person is, something is for sure isn't right. Can you give them sadaqah? That's a masala, that's a ruling. Allah tells in the Quran, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمْ. Don't give your wealth to what? Foolish people. Don't give your wealth to people who are sufaha, who are fools. Is it permissible to give a fool your money? Is it your money to give? You're the leader of a masjid or an Islamic center. Can you give sadaqah to anyone and everyone who comes into the door? That's a ruling, because that money is no longer your money. You're a trustee of the wealth of Allah. You're the emir of this center. The people give their donations. They put the money in the sadaqah box, or if the sadaqah box is a bid'ah, and you can't have a sadaqah box, or however the money is put together and compiled, it's in your hands. Can you give it to someone who's on drugs? Can you give it to someone who you feel is a liar? What is the policy on giving zakat and sadaqah to people that you don't know, right? And also, can you give zakat or sadaqah to someone who doesn't ask properly? Someone who asks in an incorrect manner. They do some destruction to the property in the masjid or whatever, can you still give them sadaqah? Is it wise to give them sadaqah? This is a ruling and an issue pertaining to zakat and sadaqah, money. That's what's meant by the chapter heading. طيب. First hadith is hadith 629. The author rahimahullah says, حديث أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه قال كنت أمشي مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وعليه برد نجراني غليظ الحاشية فأدركه أعرابي فجذبه جذبة شديدة حتى نظرت إلى صفحة عاتق النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قد أثرت فيه حاشية الرداء أو الرداء من شدة جذبته ثم قال مر لي من مال الله الذي عندك فالتفت إليه فضحك ثم أمر له بعطاء. حديث المسور ابن مخرمة رضي الله عنهما قال قسم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أقبية ولم يعطي مخرمة منها شيئا فقال مخرمة يا بني انطلق بنا إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فانطلقت معه فقال ادخل فادعه لي قال فدعوته له فخرج إليه وعليه قباء منها فقال خبأنا هذا لك قال فنظر إليه فقال رضي مخرمة. Hadith 629 is narrated Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, while I was walking with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was wearing a Najrani burd, outer garment, with a thick hem. A Bedouin man came upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and pulled his garment so violently that I could recognize the impression of the hem of the garment on his shoulder, caused by his violent pull. Then the Bedouin said, order for me something from Allah's wealth which you have. The Prophet ﷺ turned to him and smiled and ordered that a gift be given to him. Hadith 630 is narrated by Al-Miswar ibn Makhramah. Allah be well pleased with them both. Allah's Messenger ﷺ distributed some cloaks, but did not give anything thereof to Makhramah. Makhramah said to me, O son, accompany me to Allah's Messenger. When I went with him, he said, call him to me. I called him for my father. He came out wearing one of those cloaks and said, we kept this for you, O Makhramah. Makhramah looked at the cloak and said, Makhramah is pleased. These two authentic hadiths in Bukhari and Muslim show that the Prophet ﷺ was not prevented by certain individuals' ignorance and lack of proper etiquette and lack of knowing exactly what to say and how to say and what to do and how to say and when to do it. It did not prevent him from giving them charity. That's the mahallu shahid, the highlighting point from these two authentic hadiths, is that it didn't stop him from giving them something, even if one of them or both of them didn't say it or do it in the right and proper manner. It did not stop him from giving them charity. So therefore we have Kitab al-Zakah, we have the Bab, the chapter heading, and then we have the Hadith. All three of them have to be in line. All three of them have to be in line. It has to be mutabaqa. They all have to be relative, all three of them. Boom, boom, bang. Kitab, Bab, and the Hadith. And that's how you enhance and increase your fiqh of the Sunnah. That's how you read a book such as Bulugh al-Maram or Sahih Bukhari, etc. And you understand Kitab al-Wudu or Kitab al-Tahara. Bab kada, the Hadith of Abi Hurairah, the Hadith of Abi Sa'id, the Hadith of Umar, the Hadith of Ubay ibn Ka'b. وهكذا. طيب. So therefore that's the highlighting point from these two hadiths. We benefit many things from these two hadiths. From them is that which Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala says in al-Minhaj, في احتمال الجاهلين والإعراض عن مقابلتهم ودفع السيئة بالحسنة. First benefit from this hadith is the recommendation to bear the harm of the ignorant. To bear the harm of ignorant people and not to strike back. Not to strike back. Doesn't have to be tick for tack with someone who's jahil. Let them abuse you or annoy you or say something bad to you or whatever, even sometimes physical. It's okay. You be the better person, the bigger person, the stronger person. You understand this? Especially if you're someone who's learned, or especially if you're someone who's in some type of political status. You will run thin if you reply every single person who says something negative about you. Every person who's refuting you or criticizing you, or every person who's just displeased with you, or every person who's saying, hey, this and that and blah, blah, blah. You'll run thin. If you wanted to respond to every single person, you couldn't. You couldn't. You understand this? And sometimes it's best just to let the dogs bark, as they say. Sometimes do what? Let the dog bark. Everyone understand this? The poet, he said, I will kullama. He says what? He says, whenever the fly lands on my nose, I will kullama طن الذباب علي زجرته إن الذباب إذا علي كريم. He says, every time that the fly lands on my nose, will I pluck it away and move it away? If I did that, the fly would mean a lot to me. You understand? Every single time the fly landed on my nose, that means that the fly had a what? It was kareem to me. So you can't always respond or strike back. Someone said something nasty to you. A family member, a friend, your husband, your wife, ex-husband, ex-wife, anyone. Every time someone says something, you don't always have to what? Be nasty back. And if you do that, then you'll run yourself thin. Especially if you're what? In a status of knowledge or some type of influence. This is advice for any person, let alone someone who's in a status in which you're in the limelight, people are looking at you, and people there what? They have their arrows pointed towards you, waiting for your slip and waiting for your mistake. You understand this wisdom? And this is something that is easily said, practice what? Not so what? Not so easily. Because you have ego. You have ego, all right? Let alone if you have a fiery nature, or let alone if you come from a place or a culture in which you don't take no ... from what? Anybody. And if you do, then what? You're a sucker, you're soft, you're corny, you're this, you're that. That's what the culture is. You gonna let him say that about you in the lunchroom? I don't have no problem with him. It really doesn't bother. My sneakers not beat up. I don't care, but he said that you're wearing Bobos. He said that you're wearing messed up sneaks. Your sneaks is talking. It is the culture. You have to walk over there, put down your tater tots. What? You said something about say, just like that. Punch him in the face. Am I making this up, Sheikh? And if you don't, what? People going to talk about you. And the next day, it's going to be someone talking about your shoes and your shirt and this and that. And you have a bigger problem than your tater tots falling on the floor. Everyone understand this? So as a Muslim, sometimes you have to distance yourself from that culture and that ego and that pride. That anyone who says anything about me, I'm going to say something back, I'm going to do something back. That is not necessarily according to the sunnah. Sometimes you have to respond. Sometimes you should. Sometimes you have the option, but oftentimes you just got to what? Jazakallah khairan. Shukran. Thanks. You're right. Just that simple. Everyone understand this? Oftentimes people are looking for attention. People are miserable. They're suffering. They use you as a pin cushion. You understand? An emotional punching bag, we say. I have to take my anger, my frustration, my hurt, my jealousy, my insecurities out on you. Everyone understand this? Because you're happy with your life. You're doing something that's making you happy. You're happy in your own skin. I don't like my skin color. I don't like the way I look. I don't like my weight. I don't like my height. And you do. So therefore I have to say something. Oh, you think you're better than us? You think you this? You think you that? You think you such and such? So oftentimes you shouldn't even reply. Don't even respond. Especially if you're in a status in which people are looking for your flaws and your mistakes. Everyone understand this? So that's what Nawawi says. The first fa'idah from this hadith is to bear the harm of the jahilin. Allah, how golden this advice is for a student of knowledge. How golden this advice is. Bear the harm. You think that you're just going to be left alone, unmolested, unbothered in the airport, in the masjid, in the center? You think no one's going to mess with you, no one's going to bother you? You're just going to walk around, memorize, study, learn. MashaAllah, Sheikh, I have a plate of fruit for you. Sheikh, I have coffee. Sheikh, take this. Sheikh, marry my daughter. Sheikh, teach me. Make me your student. Sheikh. You think that life is just going to be kissing on the forehead and the hand? That's it? And you're going to enjoy knowledge and have this status and no one is going to challenge it? You're living in a total dream world. Rather, there's going to be a great deal of what? Other harm and annoyance. Physical, spiritual, emotional, financial. And the list goes on. And then what? The list goes on. If your skin is not thick enough, then you're in the wrong business. Don't quit your day job. It's a reality, and I'm telling you from personal experience. Okay, moving forward. An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala then says, the next fa'idah from this hadith, وَدَفْعُ السَّيِّئَةِ بِالْحَسَنَةِ is not only to turn away from the ignorant people and their harm and their annoyance, but also to do something good for them. When someone does a sayyi'ah, you should do a what? A hasana. Idfa' billati hi ahsan. A-sayyi'ata. Reply that which is what? Worse with that which is best. How better would our lives be if we had the strength to implement this? The what? The strength to implement this. Everyone understand this? Just think about that now. How much strength it takes not to say something. Because the people are going to say, oh, you're scared to say something back. You're scared to fight back. But how much strength does it take for you to what? Not to fight back. As that legendary athlete said when he was breaking the rules of segregation and the color boundaries in America's pastime. Talking about baseball, Jackie Robinson. Everyone understand this? His talent and his skill at baseball was so undeniably strong that they had to bring him into the league with, there. So what did his owner say to him? And what did he say to his owner? He told him, don't reply when people call you an N-word. And people say that you can't come in this restaurant. You can't come in this diner. You can't sleep on this bed. You have to do this. Don't reply to them. So he got angry. And he said, you want a man that doesn't have the guts to fight back? That's what you want? No problem. You want a soft player? I'll be soft. And what did his owner say to him? He says, no. He says, I want someone who has the strength not to fight back. That's the real strength that I want in you. The power not to fight back. But in most cases, we only look at the surface. And if you don't say something back, if you don't do anything back, then you're soft. And it takes strength to what? To fight back. But in actuality, the true inner strength is to what? Not to fight back. That's level number one. Level number two is to do what? The hasana. Hey, Jazakallah khairan. I want to say to you, may Allah bless you. May Allah give you good in both worlds. After they just said, you bleep, 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 bleep. Thank you very much for the comments. I know I was wrong. Shukran. Jazakallah khairan. Or not even because you may not be wrong in an issue. Thank you for your good words. Someone sends a nasty reply to you in a YouTube video. You say what? Thanks a lot. May Allah bless your day. May Allah help you out. Everyone understand this? That takes what? Strength. Because the ego is to say, what? Who are you talking to? Everyone understand this? What do you think this is? You want to go outside? Outside? You think just because I'm sitting in a chair and I'm talking and what? We can what? We can go outside off the live stream. Hada huwa. Everyone understand this? But that's the Jahili ego. That's the ego of Jahiliyyah. And that's not the Sunnah. Everyone understand this? Who are you talking to? What do you think this is? I'll show you something before Hadith Disciple days. Everyone understand this? That's the pride in you. And that takes a great deal of jihad to suppress. Listen to these words. A great deal of inner jihad to stifle that tough guy ego. Everyone understand this? The Prophet ﷺ could have had this man hacked to pieces. He grabbed the Prophet, almost choked him. And the Prophet gave him money and he smiled at him. Everyone understand this beautiful character here? This is the thing that we all need in our lives. Moving forward, he says, وَإِعْطَاءُ مَنْ يُتَأَلَّفُ قَلْبُهُ. And this also shows us is that you should give money for those people whom you look forward to becoming Muslims. Those people whose iman is weak. Looking at the bigger picture. The man comes to me, obviously he has a full cup. He's a stereotype. That I'm not going to give him the money. I'm not one of his companions. I'm a nomad. I'm a Bedouin. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to give him the money. Wow, Muhammad was graceful to me. Muhammad was nice to me. Muhammad was what? He was kind to me. Maybe his religion is the truth. And he may not accept Islam, but the ones whom he tells about the money that he got, they what? You choked him and he gave you money? He didn't pull out his sword? He didn't have Omar to cut you in half? It means something. Everyone understand this? And you have to look at the what? The bigger picture. Living in this country, living in the United States of America. Do we need a bigger example of this? Civil rights movement? Civil rights movement. Who won that movement? We all know who won. But it's not that easy when you're being beaten and putting a high pressure hose on you and a dog and hit and humiliated and made fun of and wronged and oppressed. But at the end, who won? And why did they win? Are we understand this? And you have to look at the onlookers. Are we understand this? And that is the moral fight. Are we understand this? The moral fight. Underdog. Smaller force versus a larger force. People are going to feel sympathy and compassion for you. But not by you being nasty like they're being nasty. By you being patient and forbearing. Everyone understand this? And it's human nature for them to say, hey, why are you picking on these people here? And that's when things will what? Things will change. Moving forward, he says, وَالْعَفُوَ عَنْ مُرْتَكِبِ كَبِيرَةٍ لَا حَدَّ فِيهَا بِجَهْلِهِ. This hadith also proves the permissibility of forgiving and being forbearant upon someone who makes a major sin, as long as that major sin doesn't have a had, a punishment. Absolving someone of the major mistake that they made as long as there's no prescribed punishment in Islam. Meaning, him choking the Prophet ﷺ, disrespecting the Prophet, give me the money that Allah has given you. No, there's no respect. That's a major sin. That's a major sin. Disrespecting the Prophet ﷺ's honor is a what? A major sin. The Prophet did not have him flogged or whipped or cut or whatever because there was no specific had for it. But as far as someone who makes zina, stealing, highway robbery, something which is a specific punishment, you cannot what? No pardon is to be given. You can't pardon them. Rather, Allah's laws have to be implemented. If it was up to me, I wouldn't beat you. The ruler says. I would give you another chance. But you were found drinking with the conditions, kada, you must be what? You must be flogged. Because it's bigger than my opinion. As Allah clearly tells in Surah An-Nur, وَلَا تَأْخُذْكُمْ بِهِمَا رَأْفَةٌ فِي إِن كُنْتُمْ تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. Allah says, do not be overtaken by compassion for the zani and the zaniya. وَلَا تَأْخُذْكُمْ بِهِمَا رَأْفَةٌ. Compassion. Oh, they were young. They were in love. It was innocent. He didn't rape her. They slept with each other. Oh, they made a mistake. Kada, kada. Allah says, وَلَا تَأْخُذْكُمْ بِهِمَا رَأْفَةٌ. Don't be overtaken by passion. فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ. If you are a believer in Allah on the last day. وَلِيَشْهَدَ عَذَابَهُمَا. And Allah says, and let a group from the believers witness their punishment. There is no flog them in private. They're going to be punished when no one sees. No. People have to what? See it. Fulan and Fulana. Fulan's son. Fulana's daughter. No. They have to be flogged like what? Anybody else. But if there isn't a specific had, then it's permissible for the ruler to do what? Make afu. Everyone understand this? No, Rahimahullah Ta'ala even says. And that's because of his ignorance. He was jahil. He was a Bedouin. He was a nomad. He was uncouth, uncultured. Next fa'idah he says, وَإِبَاحَةُ الضَّحْكِ عِنْدَ الْأُمُورِ التي يتعجب منها في العادة. And the permissibility of laughing or smiling when something funny or strange happens. It's fine to laugh. It's fine to smile if something, as we would say, crazy happens, right? That was crazy. SubhanAllah, right? Something happens on the live stream, you can't help but what? Smirk and smile. Lady comes, gives you a bear hug, a can of Goya beans. You say, why is Mufti smiling? Why is he laughing? Everyone understand this? That's something what? Definitely we would call what? That's crazy. You saw what happened? That was wild. As we would say in our culture. He says, وَفِيهِ كَمَالُ خُلُقِهِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَحِلْمِهِ وَصَفْحِهِ الْجَمِيلِ. And it shows us the immaculate character of the Prophet ﷺ. His exalted standard of moral conduct and how forgiving and forbearing and tolerant and clement he was, alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is a tremendous lesson in da'wah. Be easy with the people. Be generous with the people. Don't be too hard on the people. Don't be too mean. Don't be too nasty. As we say, just what? Just chill. Chill out. Relax. Dawah right now doesn't need a tough guy. There's too many tough guys. Real ones and fake ones out there. People need mercy and compassion. Softness, kindness. They need knowledge. They need someone to look up to. They need someone to admire. Not through being a what? A tyrant and a bully and a tough guy. Everyone understand this? And it doesn't mean that you have to be soft. It doesn't mean that you have to be a nut. It doesn't mean that you have to be scared. You have to be this. It doesn't mean none of those cultural references. But the true strength is in the one who controls himself. As the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الشَّدِيدُ الَّذِي يَمْلِكُ نَفْسَهُ عِنْدَ الْغَضَبِ. That's the true tough wrestler, right? Is the one who wrestles people by wrestling himself. He controls his anger. He doesn't strike out of anger. He doesn't become impulsive. May Allah help us all and rectify all of us. Ameen. Khairan, inshallah. Let's move forward to the next chapter. Shaykh Muhammad Fuad Abdul Baqi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, باب إعطاء من يخاف على إيمانه أو يخاف على إيمانه. حديث سعد بن أبي وقاص رضي الله عنهما قال: أعطى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رهطا وأنا جالس فيهم، قال: فترك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم منهم رجلا لم يعطه وأعجبهم إلي، فقمت إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فساررته فقلت: ما لك عن فلان؟ والله إني لأراه أو أراه مؤمنا، قال: أو مسلما؟ قال: فسكت قليلا ثم غلبني ما أعلم فيه، فقلت: يا رسول الله ما لك عن فلان؟ والله إني لأراه أو لأراه مؤمنا، قال: أو مسلما؟ قال: فسكت قليلا ثم غلبني ما أعلم فيه، فقلت: يا رسول الله ما لك عن فلان؟ والله إني لأراه مؤمنا، قال: أو مسلما؟ قال: إني لأعطي الرجل وغيره أحب إلي منه خشية أن يكب في النار على وجهه. The next chapter says, giving someone whom you're afraid for their iman. You're scared and you're afraid, i.e., of weak iman. You're afraid of someone relapsing back to kufr and jahiliyyah. New shahada comes in the masjid. He's hungry for Islam. He wants to be a Muslim. We see he has some issues and some problems. We what? Give him money. And that's because money is powerful. And we can never ever forget the power of money. And we should never have enough fake piety, not real piety, to think that money isn't powerful and money doesn't matter. As many of us act like, oh, I'm not in it for the money. Oh, no, it's okay. It's all right. Oh, just because you have money, such and such. Oh, that's corny anyway. It's easy for you to say. It's easy for you to say. And only Allah knows how much greed for money is in your heart when you say things like that. It's just you don't have it, so you scorn it. That's not correct. That's not true zuhd. Zuhd is you have it and you don't want it. You have the ability to get it and you don't go after it. Not the fake zuhd. And what you really want, a Nike sweater. But it's too much for me, so I said, oh, that's corny anyway. I didn't want it anyway. Everyone understand this? You can't do things like this, all right? Remember when you play football, you don't get picked? Huh? You take your ball, he said, I got to go in the house. My mom said I got to be home at a certain time. But you was just wanting to play football with us, right, Khalid? Now you didn't get picked, so I don't want to play anymore. Right or wrong? The person is hating the game, oh, I got to go because what? Didn't get picked. So you got to be realistic about money. Money is powerful. It has always been powerful, and it will always what? Be powerful. And a smart believer and a wise believer is one who's going to acknowledge and recognize the strength of money, the importance of it. And he's going to use it and utilize it properly. As the Prophet ﷺ said, the good wealth is a good thing for a good righteous servant. You understand this? For a good righteous servant. And there's no dawah without what? Wealth. There's no anything else without what? Without wealth, without money. So money is powerful. And from the power of money is that it can help someone out who's weak. You can't buy someone's faith. Not the true faith, not the real faith. You can never buy iman. Just like a sword can never make someone believe. As we said, if that's what you mean by Islam spread by the sword, then of course not. You can't put faith in someone's heart because of terror and fear. They can submit to you outwardly. They can be hypocrites. They're forced to take the outer sense of it, but inside, that can only come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't buy someone's faith. You can't make someone a believer because of money. So it's not going to last long. It's not going to be real. It's not going to be true. But you can support and help someone. Are we understand this? The Muslims, they were kind with their money. This is a proof that Islam is the truth. This is the proof that what they're reading in the Holy Quran, they're actually implementing it. And that the believers are supposed to be what? Brothers. What brotherhood is there? I don't have enough money to get a sandwich and you can't help me out. Why should I even be a Muslim? You understand this? So the permissibility and the recommendation of giving someone wealth to strengthen and to fortify their weak or low iman. We're afraid that they'll go back to Jahiliyyah. We do what? We hook them up. And this applies to other things as well. A brother comes into the masjid. He accepts Islam. We have no reason to doubt him. Give him a job. Marry him off. Give him some type of responsibility in the masjid. Include him. Are we understand this? Make him feel valued and honored and to be a Muslim. And don't make a new shahada feel like that they are a stray dog in the mosque. What are you doing here? I don't say it with my tongue, but with my eyes. It's how we look at people who's from a different race or ethnicity. Someone who has tattoos on their arms or maybe on their face or their neck. What are you doing here? What do you think I'm doing here? Are you stupid? Do you think I'm mistaking the masjid for a club? Common sense. I'm come here to pray. But unlike you, I wasn't fortunate enough to be born Muslim and raised Muslim. My grandfather wasn't named Abdullah Abdurrahman. I don't come from a lineage or a tribe of clan. I come from kufr and shirk, Christians and this and that. And I was in Jahiliyyah. I was wild and I got tattoos. But I'm obviously trying to do what? The right thing now. Only Allah knows how many people push people away from Islam through their actions, through their statements. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said to his great companions, Inna minkum lamunafirina. He says, from among you are those who push people away. He said it to the Sahaba. The Sahaba. Imagine today how much racism we have. How much colorism, tribalism we have. How funny we look at people in the masjid that we're unfamiliar with. How we scream at someone to take off your shoes. Oh, sit down, brother. Tell your son to sit down. Your son is disturbing the people in prayer. But people from another race, their kids run around and jump around, you don't say what? Anything to them. This brother, he comes in the masjid with a tattoo, and your son or your daughter, born and raised Muslim, they want a tattoo, and you don't scorn them. His name is Abdullah from birth, and he has tattoos that you don't know about. Or you do know about. So we have to be mindful of not pushing people away from the deen. And from that, it's to support them financially to the best of our what? Abilities. Only Allah knows how far a candy bar can go. A cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a ride home. That can strengthen his iman. Because his grandmother, his girlfriend, his father, they're on his back. Yo, you want to be a Muslim? You want to leave the religion of your forefathers? You're not going to college anymore. I'm not going to give you any tuition anymore. I'm not going to do this for you. Now he's stuck. Since I became a Muslim, my life became miserable. All my friends cut me off. My girlfriend doesn't want to talk to me. My parents are doing this. My mom is threatening to do this. The first thing that he needs is for the Muslims to do what? Fill that void. You need someone to stay? We got somewhere for you to stay. You need something to eat? We have what? Food for you to eat. You need a job? We have a job for you. You don't have a girlfriend no more. That means you have to do what? Not, oh, you can't marry my daughter. Or my daughter could never marry someone like you, and so on and so on and so forth. Everyone understand this? Last but not least, we cannot discriminate with regards to new shahadas, new Muslims. A new Muslim of this background, we treat them a certain way, and a new Muslim of another background, we treat them another way. Can't discriminate. Someone who's new to Islam is new to Islam, no matter what they look like, no matter where they come from. And if you look at many Muslims, unfortunately, you'll see a great deal of discrimination. They'll value a new Muslim of this race, and a new Muslim of another race, they'll just, just new Muslim. All right? That's perverted. We have to stop this behavior. And we have to realize that we are representatives of Islam in the United States. It's our job to show the people what the religion is. Yes, we know that Islam is not the Muslims. The teachings of the Quran and Sunnah are pure. We know this. But that's not what the people are saying and seeing. They're basing off of the actions of the Muslims. That's what the Quran is. The Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad is the what? People in the masjid. No doubt about that. So we have to fear Allah. Starting with myself on down. So that's what this hadith is about. That's what this chapter is about. The permissibility and the recommendation of giving someone sadaqah because their iman is weak or we're afraid that they'll go back to kufr. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu ta'ala anhu went back and forth with the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. It says, narrated Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, Allah's Messenger distributed something among a group of people while I was sitting amongst them. But he left a man whom I considered the best of the lot. So I went up to Allah's Messenger ﷺ and asked him secretly, why have you left that person? By Allah, I consider him a believer. The Prophet said, or merely a Muslim? I remained quiet for a while, but could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him. I said, O Allah's Messenger, why have you left that person? By Allah, I consider him a believer. The Prophet ﷺ said, or merely a Muslim? I remained quiet for a while, but could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him. I said, O Allah's Messenger, why have you left that person? By Allah, I consider him a believer. The Prophet said, or merely a Muslim? Then Allah's Messenger said, I give to a person while another is dearer to me, for fear that he may be thrown in the hellfire on his face. Everyone understand the hadith? The Prophet gave some men some money, and he ignored one. Sa'd radiallahu anhu couldn't understand this. He couldn't accept it. He couldn't wrap his head around it. If you're going to give anybody sadaqah, it should be fulan. It's the best of them. And the Prophet ﷺ, he clarified to him at the end of the hadith, and he basically told him to scratch beneath the surface and don't judge a book by its cover all of the time. And it's much more than what you think on the surface. I have no problem with this one. He's good. But there's someone else who's weaker, who's more needy, and someone that I'm afraid that Allah will put on his face in the fire of hell. Obviously, if he goes back to Jahiliyyah. So let me give him the money to do what? Strengthen him. This one, he's what? He's good. He's going to be a Muslim, inshallah, whether he gets the sadaqah or not. This one here is what? On the what? On the brink. My grandmom is calling me now. She made pork chops. Huh? My favorite childhood meal. My girlfriend is calling me, texting me, where you at? What you mean you can't be with me no more? Why are you acting all weird? Why are you wearing a dress? What happened to you? It's reality. This is what? This is, I'm talking real life here. The people on the streets, yo, what's up, man? You just came home, the block is right. We held it for you all these years. This is your box, your money, your guns, everything. We kept it safe for you. Shaitan is calling him. And the people at the masjid look at him funny because he's from another race. What do you think is going to happen? And who do you think is responsible for him going back to Jahiliyyah? Are we understanding the message here? So the Prophet said to me, told Sa'd radiallahu anhu, is that there are people that are better, but I don't give them that money because I'm afraid that they'll be thrown on their faces in the fire of hell. Everybody understand the hadith? And Sa'd radiallahu anhu, he went back and forth with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this proves the permissibility of going back with your teacher. Sometimes. The permissibility of debating with your what? With your teacher. Sa'd radiallahu anhu clearly went back and forth, what? Several times. And the Prophet ﷺ allowed it. Oh, Muslim? Or merely a Muslim? Are you sure about that? The Prophet never said he was wrong or right. He says, are you sure about what you're saying? And this goes to show you the firmness of the learned person. The teacher doesn't have to make a bunch of movements. I know what I'm talking about. Do you? Everyone understand this? For sure, that he's a Muslim outwardly. But are you sure he's a what? Mu'min? Are you sure about that? And then after all of that, he explained his position and why, so on and so forth. طيب. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says regarding this hadith. معنى هذا الحديث أن سعدا رأى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يعطي ناسا ويترك من هو أفضل منهم في الدين وظن أن العطاء يكون بحسب الفضائل في الدين وظن أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يعلم حال هذا الإنسان المتروك فأعلمه به وحلف أنه يعلمه مؤمنا فقال له النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أو مسلما فلم يفهم منه النهي عن الشفاعة في مرة أخرى فسكت ثم رآه يعطي من هو دونه بكثير فغلبه ما يعلم من حسن حال ذلك الإنسان فقال يا رسول الله ما لك أن فلان تذكيرا وجوز أن يكون النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بإعطائه من المرة الأولى ثم نسيه فأراد تذكيره وهكذا المرة الثالثة إلى أن أعلمه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن العطاء ليس هو على حسب الفضائل في الدين. He says this hadith means that Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu thought and felt that getting money, getting assistance is based off of virtue in the religion. And that's not the case. That's not the case. Sa'd radiallahu anhu thought that perhaps the Prophet made a mistake the first time. Maybe he forgot. So he said it a second time and a third time. And the Prophet ﷺ informed him that I have not made a mistake. I have not forgotten. I have not slipped. Rather, there's a wisdom why I'm doing it this way. He told Sa'd to do what? Pour out the cup without a question. Get rid of what you think and just let me show you the proper way right now. Sa'd radiallahu anhu, his cup and this issue was what? Was full. That the best one who has the best religion is supposed to get the most money. And that's not necessarily the case. Everyone understand this? No, rahimahullah ta'ala, he then says here, معناه أعطي ناسا مؤلفة في إيمانهم ضعف ولو لم أعطيهم كفروا فيكبهم الله في النار وأترك أقواما هم أحب إلي من الذين أعطيتهم ولا أتركهم احتقارا لهم ولا لنقص دينهم ولا إهمالا لجانبهم بل طيب, he says here, بل أكلهم إلى ما جعل الله في قلوبهم من النور والإيمان التام وأثق بأنهم لا يتزلزل إيمانهم لكماله. He goes on to explain this, why the Prophet gave those weak people and why he refused to give the strong people. Allah will take care of them. I am not ignoring them. I'm not neglecting them. I am not scorning them. But they don't need the immediate attention. Like an emergency room. You go there, you say that I hurt my hand, arm wrestling. I twisted my bone, right? It's hurting, it's throbbing, it's swollen. But there's someone who's losing blood. The doctor is going to attend to what? This one. Even though it's hurting you. And you deserve attention, but not as much as what? That person. So we learn from this prioritizing. We have to what? Prioritize in da'wah. And we also learn compassion. The Prophet was scared for the people to go back to Jahiliyyah. He was afraid. So people say that the Prophet was bloodthirsty, merciless, killer, tyrant, took slaves, took concubines, killed the Bani Qurayza, committed genocide, this and that, so on. What about this hadith? If the Prophet didn't care anything about the people, and he had no concern, and it was only about how many camels and young virgins that he could acquire, why would he be afraid? What would he care if someone goes back to being a kafir or not? And why would he give them money that he could have put in his own coffer? We understand this? So this goes to show you that the learned scholar and the leader has to have care and compassion. You have to feel the people's pain. And how you feel their pain will be manifested in your words. And that will have an effect upon the people's hearts, that you really want them to get it right. And I don't want you just to follow me or to listen to me. I want you to what? Learn it yourself. I want you to learn the source. I want you to understand the kalam of the ulama. That way you don't have to what? Take me. You understand this? I'm teaching you how to wield a sword when what? You forgot. Limbless. I'm teaching you how to do what? How to wield a sword when you're what? When you're limbless. So if you have no limbs, you can still wield a sword. You never need a what? You never need me. You understand what I'm trying to say? You don't have to ask Sheikh Mufti. I taught you how to do it yourself now. You research it. You read the Kalam and know it yourself. And anyone who's connecting you to themselves, you have to go through me. The filter has to be me. The monopoly is mine. You can't understand it yourself. You have to take from this modern day scholar, this brother, that brother. That right there should show you that that person is, it's not what you want. You want someone that wishes to educate you, and then you grow strong enough by yourself. Everyone understand the difference here? You're always under me, beneath me. You're going to be a suckling baby for the rest of your life. And you may have some table food when I decide. Versus, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to give you the skills. For you to understand the speech of the ulama, you're what? Yourself. And then you can be independent and you go on and lead your own masjid, your own community. Don't be under me for the rest of my life. I don't need a clone. I don't need someone that's attached to me 24/7. It's not helping me. It's not helping my soul. It may help my worldly affairs, but it's not what? It's not helping my soul. Everyone understand this? So someone who wants to make you attached to them, that in itself is a sign that something isn't what? Something isn't right with their dawah, with their call. And attack anyone who says that make the people independent. Allow them to learn themselves. Everyone understand this? And the student can only repay his teacher the day in which he's no longer a student. Don't forget that. And if that's not the case, there's no way you could ever repay your teacher. Period. That's the only way that you repay your teacher is by graduating from their class. The day in which you tell them, I don't need you no more, that is the appreciation that you've shown them. Because that means they've successfully raised a man or woman, and not a baby, a breastfed baby. You understand this? You have the ability to learn yourself. Something comes up, you ask, no problem. Sheikh, you have more experience, help me with this, method, no best. But a breastfeeding, suckling child that can't make wudu unless you show them, can't talk unless you give them the keys to teach, can't understand anything unless you explain to them what's meant by this, that's not what we want. Everyone understand this? And Allah surely knows best, so we'll stop here. Sallallahu sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad.